Chapter 19 of the Dao De Jing, pronounced Dao De Jing, sets out to dismantle three things every civilization considers foundational: wisdom, benevolence, and skill. What it finds underneath them is worth the difficulty of getting there. Jai sheng kai zhai, min lai bai bei, jai rain kai yi, min fu zhou sai, jai kao kai lai dao zai wu yu, sai senji yi wei wen bu zu, bu ling yu suo shu, jiven su bao pu, xiao sai gua yu. In English, abandon sagehood, discard cleverness, and the people will benefit 100-fold. Abandon benevolence, discard righteousness, and the people will return to filial care and love. Abandon craft, discard profit, and thieves and robbers will disappear. These three formulations, however, are not sufficient as teachings, so let them be given something to hold. See the plain, embrace the uncarved, reduce selfishness, quiet desire. The chapter opens with three shocks: cut wisdom, people benefit; cut benevolence, families heal; cut craft and profit, crime ends. This reads like provocation, and it is, but to understand it, you need to see what Laozi is reacting against. By his era, somewhere in the centuries before the Common Era, Chinese rulers were already invoking wisdom, benevolence, and righteousness as ideological banners. These weren't private virtues, they were state doctrine. They were what the educated classes studied, preached, and administered, and under their banner, the people were taxed, conscripted, and often starved. Laozi's point is not that wisdom is bad, it's that proclaimed wisdom as credential, as title, as system, tends to substitute for the thing it claims to be. A ruler who constantly demonstrates sagely wisdom is probably performing it rather than embodying it. A government that builds elaborate doctrines of benevolence may be compensating for the absence of the real thing. The pattern he's pointing at: when you have to name something and institutionalize it, you've often already lost it. A family that displays filial love as a cultural slogan is a family where actual warmth has started to fray. A merchant who advertises ethical conduct is operating in a world where ethics have become scarce enough to be a selling point. The signal's appearance is evidence of the thing's disappearance. The characters for the two keyed images here are Chinese letter Su, meaning raw, undyed silk, and Chinese letter Pu, an uncarved block of wood. These are Laozi's figures for a state before elaboration. The silk before it becomes a robe, the wood before it becomes a chair. Not inferior, just not yet shaped into something with a single, narrowed use. Then comes the move that most readers almost miss. Laozi says these three prohibitions are not enough. Don't abandon wisdom, cut benevolence, drop craft, and think you're done. That's just negation. Negation without something underneath it is only emptiness. The positive instruction comes at the end. See the plain, embrace the uncarved, reduce selfishness, quiet desire. This is the actual prescription, not a set of rules, not a new doctrine to replace the old ones. Just return to something prior to doctrine. Get quieter, want less, find a version of yourself that predates your accumulations. One thing this passage does is invert the usual direction of self-improvement. Most approaches to becoming better, wiser, kinder, more capable involve adding more knowledge, more virtue, more technique. Laozi is suggesting the problem might be the adding itself. Not because knowledge and kindness and skill are worthless, but because when they become the things you're performing, they've already shifted into something else. The student who studies ethics to appear ethical has missed something. The expert who demonstrates expertise to establish authority has drifted from expertise into its imitation. That said, this passage is genuinely hard to translate into concrete terms. It's easier to describe what Laozi is diagnosing than to say what following this actually looks like day to day. Want less and see plainness are not instructions in the usual sense. They are orientations, things to sit with rather than execute. Maybe the most honest use of this chapter is as a check on a particular kind of reaching. The next time you find yourself adding another credential, performing another demonstration of virtue, signaling another form of competence, just pause, not to abandon all of it, but to notice whether the impulse is coming from the thing itself or from the anxiety surrounding it. Below wisdom, below benevolence, below skill, something simpler and more durable: the plain cloth, the uncarved wood. Chapter 20 follows.